Okay, let me get started here. Before we get real far into it, I wanted to first apologize, mainly because when I get started on something like this, I can tend to go off on a tangent, so I might uh, go off topic or go off subject here. But anyway, I'll get started with my Joomla hacks. Now, what is Joomla? Joomla is a free and open source content management framework. It's for publishing web content. I've been using it for approximately 4 years now. I found out about it through a colleague of mine who had been kind of small time editing with it. I really got into it because of the flexibility of it, and I got back into it when 1.5 was the main software to use, or the main version. Obviously, it was before 2.5 or 3, and it's built on Model View Controller web application framework that can also be used independently. Joomla is written in PHP, uses object-oriented programming techniques. That was since version 1.5. I've never tested with anything older than that. Software design patterns stores data in MySQL. Version 2.5 was Microsoft SQL, or version 3.0, which just recently came out, is PostgreSQL. And it includes features such as page caching, RSS feeds, printable versions of pages, news flashes, blogs, polls, searches, language packs that you can install into it. Is just a feature-rich application to use. Find it really easy to customize. As of July 2013, it's been downloaded over 35 million times. Over 6,000 free and commercial extensions are available just from the extension directory, which is it's extensions, or you just look up Joomla extensions, you'll find the URL. Anyway, more available from other sources, from secondary that just didn't want to put it in the directory. It's estimated to be the second most used content management system on the internet after WordPress. I've tried both, and I prefer Joomla over WordPress because it's a lot easier to use. It's just a lot easier free-flowing. Let's see, we got now the extensions that you can do to extend it. There are 5 types of extensions for Joomla. There's components. Those are almost like mini applications. They're the most complex. You can actually create pages based on those and put them in the main page body, which I have it up here. This is on a shameless plug, the Deadwood Mountain Grand website that I built for the company that I work for. But anyway, here you'll see the main page, or not the main page, but this is just the small slime plant stage. There is a component here that you can add dates. It's basically just a little calendar to show what's coming up, and then you can actually have it on the side here. This is the module, which is it's a module position on the left. You can have one on this side as well, on the left, and this is on the right. These are all anything that surrounds the main content is going to be a module position. So up top, the header, the footer, the bottom, the copyright, that's all module positions. And those are, we'll go back here, and modules rendering pages. The flexibility requires module extensions, which is then linked to Joomla components. Not necessarily linked to components, so you can actually have custom HTML in those boxes. So the components that do have their own modules that link, you can have like your contact forms, or even there's a component called AC mailing, which you can use to create lists of email addresses and send email blasts and such. And then there's languages. It's very simple extensions that can be used. You can actually use them to insert, like, say, your Google Analytics codes, or even put pop-ups, or stylizing simple certain areas, inserting a module into an article, which is in the main body, so that way you can have that, or an article into a module, either or. Now let's move on to Joomscan, which is the tool that you can download and install into Backtrack or Kali. From what I heard, it was a part of Backtrack. I don't have Backtrack. I have Kali. I know it wasn't installed in Kali, so I had to download it from the SourceForge. It's a great tool for telling you all the vulnerabilities of any Joomla-based website. Oop. So next one, here's some of the options. You can see I have it actually pulled up as well. But here's the options that you can use. I generally have used just the -u for the string to just to enter the URL, and then once it starts, you can go through here. We'll get one running. Okay, so we'll get one running. We got Joomscan -u. We'll go demo thechrisbirch.com, which is mine. Part of my web server that I have. So what it'll do is it'll just take some time, and then it'll go through, it'll target, checking if there's an anti-scanner measure, which obviously there's not since it's something that I just put up. So it's going to detect Joomla-based firewall, where there won't be much of anything there, and then it'll start going through all of the known exploits that are in the database from. Actually from OWASP is where this actually came from. So while it's running there, I've actually got some stuff up here running, but there is one exploit that is a part of it. It's actually in that thing here. It's a simple one, very simple exploit. This one is it's a token request error in the coding. Once you get to the section here, don't mind some of the stuff. This is an old version, but this is the fresh 1.5 install, and I have that up as well. Let's see here, where is that? So it's right here. So here it is. You'll see everything here, and this is the generic installation of a 1.5 site. So there's this. I mean, it doesn't look pretty. I don't think it's just a basic throw it in your face, get all the features out that we can on the home page, and then add a few things here. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but that's okay. So, but once we get to the right URL, we can get in. This is it. It's index.php (option equals con user and view reset and layout equals confirm. This will take you to. This is where the token's at, and it's so simple that if you just put a single quotation, that's it. It takes you to the reset. So I can reset the password to whatever I want, and and then generic with all the 1.5 installs, the generic username, it doesn't give you an option to put your own custom one in right away. So it'll automatically change the username, or assign a username of admin. So no matter what, if you go in and you go to the administrator, and you can type in admin and put my password in that I just set it up, and boom, there you are in the administrative end. A simple hack for that one, which is on a fresh 1.5 install. This has already been patched, obviously, but I've also noticed that there's been a lot of sites that are still running 1.5x. So it's a good idea to upgrade to 2.5 or even 3.1. All 1.5 installations, again, set the administrator account to the username admin. I found this while trying to reset the admin password when I forgot it one day a long time ago. So token is emailed to the administrator account. However, this error is almost ridiculous. You just put the single quote. The FTP location of the file that needs to be fixed is under components, the con_user models, and it's reset.php. Lines are at 111 to 130. Here's the broken code. You'll see that it seems alright at first, but once you actually run it, it just doesn't like it. I mean, it likes it, but it doesn't allow it. Now, there is a fix for this. If you delete all this or replace it with this is part of it, you'll see more more features here. You actually have to include the username because when they upgraded it recently, now you have to actually assign yourself a username, so you can't just be admin. Well, you can be admin, but it'll give you the option of changing it. And here's the second half of what it is. So once you get that in there, then you'll be fine. Replace that coding in just that one section. Now here's another exploit. Using Google Docs to find the in URL colon the administrator / index.php auto login equals 1. A few thousand results will come up. Find one that actually shows something similar to this. Now, this was a site that I had quick put together, and you'll see it actually puts the password and the username in the URL for auto login. I don't get that. That's kind of a ridiculous thing. Using the Google Doc, I was able to display the administration login, and using the username and password, I was able to actually gain access to the admin area of this particular website, which right here. Now, which is funny because when I set this up as a demo, I didn't realize how open and how fast it would take to be exploited. It's reportedly the second most. If it's supposedly the second most reported or recorded CMS behind WordPress, it's just too easy to gain access to a lot of this stuff. I have found a few extensions, which would be SH Ceph 404. It's a security / redirect component that you could actually, you could kind of protect yourself against multiple attempts like brute force. It'll blacklist the IP address if it gets too many attempts on the password. There's some pretty good extensions out there for security wise. There's some filters, there's some anti-hacking stuff. I know that I ran the Joomscan against the Deadwood Mountain Grand site just to see what would happen, see how I've got 2 out of about 400 different exploits that were actually still open to vulnerability. So I think I did pretty well there. And one of them is just the htaccess file for redirects and such. I don't have that locked down, which I need to do. Now, one thing with this demo site that did happen to me while I was preparing this presentation, I got hacked. And very interesting, this is what came up. It tried to pull it, it actually completely cut me out. Any kind of links that I would try to access, even in the administration end, would redirect me to this page. And so I had to basically, what I did end up having to do was completely remove the installation and start from scratch, which would really kind of just suck if that actually happened a lot. So one of the things that you can do, if say something like there's an extension you can actually put in there to it's a backup. It's a Akiba backup. Akiba backup is a component that you can use to go in and do all of your backups. You have to manually do it unless you pay for it. It's a free extension, which a lot of the extensions are free. They give you a certain amount of features, but if you want the full features, obviously you have to pay for them. Some of it's worth the money, some of it's like, well, you just get by with what you got. I thought that was pretty interesting, though, that it got hacked, or that I got hacked in the middle of my presentation here. So anyway, this is what I have. It shows a bunch here, and it's really, I just think it's a really neat. This Joomscan is really neat, just a scanner to find out all your exploitations. And even in the exploits, it'll actually show what is exploitable and whether it's vulnerable or not. So here it looks like that we got requires valid user account to incom mail to as possible to bypass timeout protection against sending automated emails, and that's vulnerable still. So And this is version of 1.5.13. So that, I mean, that's obviously been patched in later, since these are actually available now. But using Google Dorks, you could find older versions of Joomla 1.5. So it's just a pretty robust feature to have. I'm going to definitely be using this from now on for all the Joomla sites that I build to make sure that nothing is vulnerable. So that would be the end of my presentation. Thank you.